Is school scheduling giving you a headache and feels like this huge puzzle that is impossible to figure out? What if you could just throw that out the window and simplify your homeschool and just go with the flow? Let's talk about how to make your homeschool easier, not harder.
Raising neurodivergent kids is messy, beautiful, and a lot. I'm Mary Ellen Yates, and this is Growing Together, Neurodiversity at Home. Let's figure it out together.
Okay, let's get started. It's back to school season. Do you have a pile of curriculum and you're not even sure what to do with it and you're stressing out trying to figure out the perfect schedule? Well, my tip is to just get started, and within 2 weeks, you're probably going to figure out all the tweaks that you need to make and what your flow is going to look like and what works best for you and your kids. And I promise that you just have to get started first and then it will fall into place. But here are some tips to help you with that. First, since you have that stack of curriculum, you've probably already done this, but make sure you look up what your state requires for curriculum so you make sure that you're doing what your state requires so that you're legally homeschooling. Second, prioritize language arts and math. These are the skill-based subjects that are foundational and what all your other subjects are going to build on. So focus on language arts and math. When is the best time for your kid to do these subjects? For my kids, it's first thing in the morning. By noontime, they cannot handle a high cognitive load subject. So you have to do what's best for you. Some people, they feel like right after lunch or they're able to get a nap in for their other kid, and that time tends to work better for everyone. But for my kids with a cognitive load, first thing in the morning. I feel like if we get to lunchtime and we haven't done those, it's going to be really hard to get them to focus and really build their skills. So with most curriculums, they have a year's worth of material, and they even tell you how often they suggest to do the material and how many chapters or units or sections you need to do within that week to be able to finish by the end of the year. Since they already have that year's worth of material, all you really need to do is open those books and just get started. Do as much as you feel like is working for your family. If they are super engaged in that topic, go a little longer today and then do something else tomorrow. Like, it doesn't have to be this strict, because what you're hoping is to develop a warm, enriching environment that your kids enjoy learning in. So just go with it. Or if it's a subject they hate, keep it short. Do what you need to do and then move on to something else. So there's some ways you can handle it. You can have a loose schedule of, on Mondays I do history, on Tuesdays I do science, on Wednesdays I do geography. Have an idea of what days of the week you do it. This works for people that are usually home 5 days a week or are there most of the time. A lot of homeschoolers do 4 days a week too, so however that works for you. You can also set up a loop schedule. This is what worked best for us because you just loop the subjects. If I do history on Monday and science on Tuesday and geography on Wednesday, and then I can loop back to history and science, and then, it's the next week, and then I'm going to start on geography instead this week. So that often works well because then you're getting it in. Another thing we would do is sometimes my kids didn't like jumping around subjects, and I would just do a lot of science for a while. And then once we were done with like a unit or a big section, then I would switch to geography or something else and focus on that for a while. Sometimes they like that because then every afternoon we were doing this deeper dive into this one subject and focusing on that until there was a natural breaking point, and then we would move on to something else. You can always just change it up. Go with how you guys feel for the day, and it's okay. So for math and language arts, you want to at least do those 3 to 4 times a week. We do them 5. I think they're important. Do at least something. It can change each day. And then for your other subjects, it can be 1 to 3 times a week, depending on the subject and depending on the curriculum you chose. And I've had some curriculums where I did the history in 2 years because that's what worked better for our family. So you can spread things out, whatever works for your family, to prevent burnout and just keep it simple. And so then what I do is once a curriculum is done, I've finished it, I just put it aside and we're done with that for the year. And then the next curriculum's done and I just put it aside and we're done with that for the year. And the only ones I keep going are math and language arts. If my kid is getting ahead and they've already finished the curriculum and we have a decent amount of time left in the school year, I'll move on to the next grade level curriculum, or I'll find other ways to supplement. I'll keep math going. And then for language arts, I keep that going too. And I just go at their pace. So for one of my kiddos, they might be ahead, especially in certain subjects, but another one, he goes really slow because he has learning struggles. Language arts are extremely hard. And so we go slow. Our curriculum might take 2 years instead of 1 year to complete, and that's okay because that's just is what it is. The nice thing about homeschooling is you go at your kid's pace. So another thing to keep in mind is to switch up subjects so they're using different parts of their brain so that it keeps their attention longer and decreases fatigue. So if they just did a whole bunch of writing, maybe not having the next item some copy work when they just did like an essay or something. So maybe move to math, or move to a video, or move to something else, or a read aloud, something that's going to use a different part of the brain, give the writing part of the brain a break, and then you can move on to something else, so to the copy work or whatever, a little bit later so that they have that break. Another strategy I used was I would do their favorite subject last. Another way to give them a break is to incorporate natural stopping points and transitional periods as times for them to take a little break while you're setting up the next lesson or whatever. Give them a few minutes to run around the house or go do something to decompress for a couple of minutes, or having lunch to unwind for a little while. And that helps them keep up their stamina throughout the day as well. And so why this works. For one, I didn't know at the time, but I have ADHD, and when I had this scheduling and I wasn't able to complete everything on it, it would create anxiety because then it felt disorganized for me, because then I would have to try to fill in those areas, and I would have completed some things on one day, but then I would have to go back on another day, and it just made it really confusing for me. So I needed to keep it simple, and I also didn't want the pressure and stress of not getting what I had thought that I should have gotten done in that day. So in short, simplifying your homeschool schedule just makes everything easier. Life is already hard enough. It makes it more enjoyable for you and the kids. And remember, it's more about balance than it is about perfection. It's never going to be perfect. So you just have to get started. And I promise it will all flow. So have you tried more of the open and go approach? So let me know how it worked for you and your family in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips. And I'll see you later. Bye.